Hello, we are Loops and Lap Bars International, and today we are at Emerald Park, as you can probably see. I've just moved the bloody microwave from I'll redo that. Hello, we are still Loops and Lap Bars International, and we are here at Emerald Park. I'm not moving the microphone around now. This is our second day of a 2-day visit that we had. Yesterday we were here as part of the Your Experience Guide Grand Trip event. We didn't get much filming done yesterday just because we were just having a load of fun, which is kind of why we took 2 days, so we could do some filming today and do other bits and whatnot, because we expected yesterday was going to be quite busy.
Yes.
So I think first we're going to have a go on Flight School, a little Zero coaster, see what that one's like. Very similar to Farmyard Flyer, only a bit bigger in every way, isn't it? So
yes.
Hopefully that'll be a good bit of fun to start the day. Flight School.
Yes, an adorable little coaster. I genuinely did not expect the amount of theming that it's got. You walk in, it's like an actual airport departures lounge.
For kids.
For kids.
It is like for kids, yeah, but a good bit of fun is that in there.
Yeah, coaster itself, really very smooth, bit jerky, but nothing that you're gonna sit there and worry about, all adds to it. And because it's a fairly long track for a kids coaster, you can be forgiven for thinking that you're only going to get to go round once. You don't, you get to go round twice.
Yeah, as is hopefully going on in the background. Yep, just about to drop, there we go. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
It is Farmyard Flyer Plus, and it is exactly that. It's Farmyard Flyer, but just more.
Yeah.
It's faster, it's longer, it's taller. It's a good step up from that. So yeah, it's like everything we rode yesterday. I don't think we've been on anything that's been overtly bad.
No. No.
That is quite a wonderful little coaster. That is Flight School.
Whee.
Viking Splash at the park. What a weird name that one is. We haven't done this one today, but we did do it yesterday. It's kind of a customary thing when you do a Your Experience Guide event, to all get on a water ride and get thoroughly soaked.
Yes.
Yeah, we were kind of promised that you might get wet, you might not get wet, but literally everybody got wet.
Yes, yeah, everyone got wet. It's a lovely little, I say little log flume, it's quite a big log flume, to be fair. It's sort of in the range of kind of Stormforce 10 and the fact that it's got 3 drops, one of them backwards with quite a long lengthy backwards section, to be honest.
It's when we recorded it yesterday, it was something like 7.5 minutes, just as these guys come down. 7.5 minutes round, 3 drops as we say. Backwards section, the main drop is quite a sort of a thrill. I don't quite know exactly who it is that manufactures it, because I mean, you'll see on screen here because I've done the research afterwards, but unlike other log flumes, because it is a log flume, it's got lap bars.
It has,
which kind of implies that it's made by Intamin, because Chapas has lap bars, but Chapas has lap bars because it's insane, whereas this one, it's not really insane, is it?
No, it's not really insane, but it is surprising how wet you get on it, and that's partly because sort of where you get in, where the seats are, they're quite open, so the water tends to come up the side and in, as opposed to over the top.
Yeah, and I found that very much like Valhalla, there was quite a bit of water in the boats already, so as the boats were tilting to go up and down hills, water was rushing to the front, because I got front row, and got thoroughly soaked. So definitely one to bring either a poncho or something
definitely waterproofs, because the seats like to collect water as well. That was the issue I had. I was 2 rows back. And wet bum before I'd even left the station. Yeah,
but definitely worthwhile visiting, because it is quite well themed. It is just a nice sort of sit down, a nice sort of pleasant ride, obviously with the drops and stuff. Queue line's quite decent as well.
Yeah, decent themed queue line, and also with the bags, you put them in a little crate on one side, you push the crate through, a bit like you would kind of airport security, and then you pick them up on the other side, which is really unique.
So just to clarify that one, it's almost like Rita, where you get in Rita and you put your bags in on one side, you then get on the train, you get off the other side. Same thing happens here, but there's a lot more storage. So Everyone's getting soaked. We just stood by it, as you can see, so everyone's getting soaked. Really good fun. So yeah, that's, was it Viking Voyage at the park. I'm going to show you that because we're not making that up. That is literally the name of the park, the ride. Viking Voyage at the park. Weird but wonderful. Very ominous for a queue line for a kids ride, but I was talking to Scott of Your Experience Guide yesterday, and he was saying that apparently this queue line used to be a walkthrough attraction. So they took the walkthrough out, left some of the dinosaurs in, and plonked a roller coaster in it, which I think is a really cool idea. But it does mean that some of the set pieces in the queue line are a little bit on the dated side, aren't they?
Yes. And unfortunately, the Diplodocus looks like it's been in a battle with a T-Rex.
Quite literally, yeah. As you'll see in a second.
Yep.
There he is, poor beast. Been in the walls. But as we mentioned, there's the Rex. Hello again.
Yes. So Dino Dash. This is a wonderful little coaster. Yes, theming in places could do with a bit of a work, as we said, going through the queue line, but that doesn't take away from how nice this coaster is. If you want in the whip, back row most definitely.
As with most family coasters, you want a back row ride on them, but yeah,
but front equally is just as good.
Yeah, it's really it's a really good fun ride, especially for kids. It's obviously not going to thrill your pants off or anything like that. But it is good fun. It's very smooth, it's very whippy, it's got some nice force here and there. It's not too much, but it's not as much as it could be, obviously. There are more forceful family coasters. Storm Chaser comes to mind, but it's absolutely fine as it is.
Those are two cycles, so you get to go around twice, which is really nice.
Yeah, on-ride photo, which actually will lead into, because that's pretty much Dino Dash done, but the park offers a photo. It's not like a photo pass, it's a photo booklet. So you pay €15 and you get your first photo as well as a book, and that book contains a section for each of the rides that have got photos on them, like Flight School, Viking, Dino Dash, I think Finna Force and stuff like that are in there. But yeah, so the idea is that you can essentially complete your day as you go through. Each subsequent photo costs €8, so it can be a bit on the pricey side, because we were discussing last night, weren't we, about it, when we're comparing it to Paulton's Park, which is 40 quid for 5 items. This one is a bit more expensive,
but it's better value for money, and I like the way they do it, because sort of rather than you ending up with 10 books for 10 photos throughout the day, you've got one book with them all in. And I think on the sort of more eco-friendly front and the you taking stuff home front, especially if you're traveling and you've got like luggage allowances to consider, I think it's a brilliant way of doing it.
It does shave off a little bit of weight, is that? I wouldn't say it's better value for money. I don't think that's the correct word, but I think it's more convenient than anything else. However, it leads us nicely into the prices of everything else. Nothing's expensive. No. We've, I mean, as you can see, I'm representing now. Bought this yesterday. It's a 40 euro hoodie, and it's got what is it, waffling into it?
Waffle, yeah.
Yeah, waffle in there. It's waffle light. It's very warm. Pockets have got pockets in the pockets, which is lovely. We've got refillable drinks. We have.
They do freestyle cups here, which we knew about these before we came.
We weren't expecting to have two designs though.
No, they have got two designs. They've got standard Emerald Park one, and they've got one themed up for Dino Dash as well.
It's a bit bizarre that they've not got anything for Finna Force or Tin and Nanook, but yeah. Yeah,
which is nice. The refills, the freestyles themselves are €15 to buy initially, and then your refills are €8 per day. And they've got 3 or 4 freestyle machines around the park. And unlike a lot of the other bigger parks that have got these, there's a full for the most part.
I mean, there have been some that have not got the whole selection in there, and unlike mainland European parks, they don't have all the variety of original taste Coca-Cola, but they have got proper Coca-Cola. So it's very akin to the ones in the UK, but with proper Coke in them. But I can't fault them for €8 for refill. I mean, the exchange rate, that's something coming around about £7 or something, which is a bit cheaper than it is in the UK. So we're ecstatic about that. We will go into merchandise a bit later on because we've got quite a few things to go through. But I think next we're probably going to head round to the kids area and get those sort of rides done as we start making our way towards the good stuff right towards the back of the park. But we'll do bits and bats. I think the next one's going to be Ladybird Loop, which is a little junior coaster. So we'll head over there.
Yep.
Some fairy houses. Just at the side of the path here. Yeah, just adding a bit of theme to the place, isn't it? Train station belonging to one of the fastest trains in the world. We went on it yesterday, and the train driver hoofed it round, didn't she? She weren't hanging round at all, but it was all right. It just doesn't really seem to show an awful lot.
No, it doesn't. It does have a simple loop circuit, but as Dave said, the train absolutely hooved it round. And for a train ride that goes essentially around the park, it's one of the fastest, if not the fastest, we've ever been on.
Yeah, I've been on slower Northern Rail trains. So, so that's the Emerald Park steam train, I think it is. It's what it's called. Unfortunately, out of action. Miss out on that one this time round, but there's other things to do. So I just mentioned there, Ladybird Loop is out of action, but there are other rides to go on. So we went on Shot Tower first, which is a little tiny shot tower.
The shot element of it is all about 2 foot initially, but it takes you up to the top, does some bouncy and nice and down again. Very, very gentle ride, ideal ride to get your kids into essentially shot or drop towers. And it's nice.
It does give you a bit of a tummy turn, but that's really about it. It's not anything. It does give you some nice views over the train line, actually.
And if you are an adult, the seats are a little bit snug, but the
restraints are very forgiving as well, though. So that was one of the things that we did worry about. What's kind of ended our run in the kids area now is Sheriff Shuffle, which is I think it's an SPF Visa junior breakdance. So it's a very small version of a regular sized breakdance, and it spins a damn sight more than a regular breakdance.
When you're off-road looking at it, you're sat there going, oh, that's not too bad. And for those of you that have done fairground waltzers, it's akin to that on a kids ride. Though not as violent, but that kind of level of spin, which is nice to see in a kids ride. But we genuinely both come off like, gonna need to give that 10 minutes.
So I think we're going to have a wander around the zoo. There's a little pony trek ride that we're going to have a go on. Then do the zoo, start heading towards the back of the park, and hopefully by then everything will settle down. Might come back a bit later on if we've got time to finish off the rides, but other than that, there's nothing particularly that stands out apart from those two of the big ones that I want to have a go on. Ladybird Loop, there is a rocking tug, but it's a rocking tug.
There's a rocking tug. There's also a little teacups ride as well, and for those of you that are wanting some 80s nostalgia, it's a proper 80s nostalgic ride.
It's
called Honey Pot Bears, so you're in a little bear's honey pot and you go around in a circle. From the looks of it, you can control how much you spin, as well. But yeah, it's a proper nostalgic 80s ride, is that in look and feel. And there's a little frog hopper next to it as well.
Yeah, something that we're probably not going to get onto. It's going to be far too big, but yeah, a good little area for kids this one. What a load of fun, apparently. You said they go on pony trek. That's what it's called, wasn't it? Pony trek.
Pony rail. It's pony rail.
Which is a pony trek, yeah. Sorry. And it's quite a long one.
Yeah.
Not much to look at, unfortunately.
No, at the moment it's still got a lot of greenery, and I suspect that when height of summer and the roses are in bloom, because they've got a lot of rose bushes petered around that trail, it will probably look very, very pretty. But absolutely nice, pleasant ride. Lots of sort of back and forth interaction between the ponies that have gone out before you, which is nice as well.
Yeah.
I made a friend on that ride.
Yeah, it's an all right ride. It's like Slipney at Drayton Manor, but just longer.
Yeah.
But just as comfortable, I suppose. I do find them a bit awkward though, because I don't know why that they bank the corners the wrong way. So when you're going into a corner, if it's like a right-hand corner, you'll bank to the left rather than banking to the right, which doesn't feel natural. But yeah, absolutely fine. So that's pony rail.
Yeah.
The Grand Carousel ain't.
No, I usually make a beeline for the carousels. I like carousel rides. Like, it's a bit of childhood nostalgia for me, one of my favourite rides. The thing I like about the Grand Carousel here is it's got different sized horses. So if you're an adult, you sit on the outside, smaller kids on the smaller horses as they go towards the inside, which is really, really nice. You don't get many carousels with that kind of sort of level of pick.
Yeah, and they've got lots of different foot heights, so one to get you on, and then one for adults and one for kids as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice and easy to get onto. The problem is when you're on it, it will give you hemorrhoids. At least the road that we were on, the horses, it was almost like instead of going the motion that moves the horses up and down. Instead of it being circular, it was like circular with a flat line. Yeah. So you'd be going up and down, and then all of a sudden you then you dump again. And it was, if it weren't smashing your bum, it was smashing your shins.
I didn't like. I'm compact, so I was fine for that ride. And yes, the whole essentially when it does that, the whole carousel shakes, and it does sound like it's a big carousel problem.
Yeah.
But it still is perfectly safe. It goes slow enough that you're not going to fall off, so you are going to be fine on it.
I was going to say one of the things it's memorable for that reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Grand Carousel. Hit or miss, it's entirely up to you on that one. But yeah, not for me. So that was the lodge, which it seems to be the park's main restaurant sort of eatery, and it serves a variety of things ranging from chicken to goujons and turkey and what was the other things? Haddock?
Roast turkey, curry, mac and cheese, and it's got it looks like it's got a good kids menu as well with chicken goujons, chicken nuggets, sausages as well, all sort of staple kid stuff you'd expect to find. Bit pricier because it is a sit-in restaurant, so you are looking at roughly 13-14 euros for adults and about €9 it was for children.
But it looks quality in there, and it kind of looks like it's sort of self-serving. You grab a tray, move along, and then you just ask what you want and pay at the end. So, but that's the lodge. Have a wander around the zoo now, because Emerald Park does have quite a substantial zoo, doesn't it? Starting with the red-crowned crane, which is just over here. I don't know if you'll see it on the little camera. There he is, preening. Second rarest crane species in the world, apparently.
Yes.
And there's Tracy. This is a Tera, part of the weasel family. And behind glass, it's not very easy to see them, just like that. All you can see is me there. Oops. That's a Corsac fox, and I've just upset him. That is the head of an Amur leopard. He is sleeping, so we'll leave him be. Little bush dogs. Everyone's favourite cats. They're not just any cats.
They've come to say hello.
And they've come to say hello. They're meerkats. Hey up.
Oh, 3 of them, 4 of them today.
Yeah, they've all come to say hello.
5.
Maybe, well, it's getting closer to feeding time for them. So apologies, we've not got anything for you.
He's on the ground today.
Just about to say that. It's a southern ground hornbill, and he's in a tree. Very pretty though. Got some king vultures. And staring me down. Very pretty. There he is. Eurasian eagle owl. I feel like you remember that Simpsons episode with Krusty the Clown and Homer?
Home on a clown bike.
Yeah.
Destroy that seat.
At some point, I feel like my trousers are going to sort of slide down as I go into the back room. Whew. Oh. I'm done now. Oh.
Oh, that's Kurt.
We're just in the little Lima Woods section, which is, I think it's new for this year, isn't it?
Yes, I think so, but it's a Lima walkthrough, which obviously a lot of sort of parks with zoos and zoos in general are now starting to do, and makes stuff a little bit more interactive.
Yeah,
which is nice.
I mean, we've from the sounds of it, it's a bit more unfortunate because the weather's a bit crap, so they're not really that enthusiastic about coming out. We have seen 2 though, as you'll see here, and I like lemurs. I think it's because they're very cat-like in how they work, but they are adorable as well. So it's a nice little area they've got for them as well. There's loads of trees to climb and stuff like that. It just looks really exciting. Well kept but unkempt, if that makes sense. It's well kept unkemptness, isn't it? So yeah, that's Lima Woods. It's got a couple of things to talk about now. We've got the zoo to talk about, which it's quite extensive. It's quite a lot to take in.
There is, and unlike a lot of other parks that have got zoos with them, they've got a few unique things that you don't see sort of in your standard run of the zoo. They've got jackals, they've got lynxes, the foxes as well, and they've got quite an extensive bird of prey collection, which is really nice because they've got some really big birds. Bald eagle being one of them, sea eagle, big buzzards, and they've
lots
got your
of different
standard
vultures as well.
Yeah, lots of vultures. Understandably, they've got Harris hawks and a few owls as well.
Yeah,
and it's
like
nice to see that as well.
They're doing something as well with conservation of the red kites. I think it is in the area as well. It sounds like that there's a group
breeding program.
Group that live around the park, which is nice to see. But yeah, what did it take us about an hour or something like that? Just something like leisurely stroll around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty to look at, plenty to take in. And after we'd done that, we then went on for some dinner. Now we're obviously going to talk about yesterday's dinner and today's as well. Where yesterday I had chicken burger and some chicken bites, because they do, like a lot of parks, they do meals in which you get an item, a side and a drink, and we don't need drinks because we've got these. So I ended up getting chicken bites and a burger, chicken burger, and they were tasty enough, but I did find that the chicken burger was a bit on the dry side, and I put barbecue sauce on it, but it was tasty, just a little bit on the dry side. That's all.
Yeah, I had the chicken burger meal with chips. Finna Force in the background.
Yeah.
I had the chicken burger with chips. Roughly €13, I think it was. Thereabouts. With prices will be
12,
there.
yeah, $12.50
Yeah.
is what I paid for mine.
Yeah, and it was nice.
Yeah, because the chicken that was
yeah.
on it, actually, we remarked yesterday, it's not just like your standard sort of chicken burger. It's more like a chicken. What's the word?
Fillet.
No,
Crisp.
what was the E word? A scallop.
A scallop.
Got
There
there
we
in
go.
the end. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
like an escallop, so big flat piece of chicken.
Yeah.
Battered really nicely in southern fried
Yeah,
sauce
nice
coating.
southern crispy breadcrumbs.
But yes, it was just a bit on the dry side. But other than that, it was nothing to complain about. The chicken bites were tasty. As for
Yes.
today, we went to a different place. Which
Sausages, I think it's called.
something to do with sausages. Anyway,
Yes.
I'll put it on. I had a breakfast munchie.
Yeah.
I think it was called, which entailed getting essentially it's a bacon, egg, sausage, tomato sandwich without tomato. Literally all of it done on the grill. So they put the brioche bun on the front, on the top as well. And while they're making the sandwich, it's still on the grill, so the bottom gets
Yeah.
crisped as well. It was quite tasty. However,
And you could choose your own sausage with yours.
yeah,
couldn't
you got a choice of 3 different sausages, but I did find it was a bit too bacony, and I like bacon, but yeah, it kind of overpowered the taste of everything else, I think.
Yep. I had a double cheeseburger with onions. It was one of them that's €8 for it, and it was a tasty cheeseburger. I'm not going to deny that. I did feel though that I probably should have got the chips with it.
Not quite for the but it
Wasn't
did look
quite
really
filling enough,
tasty, did the
but
burgers.
it was nice.
Yeah.
So I can't knock it for that.
Yeah, the price of the food's not been too bad, but one of the
Yeah.
things that is a bit of a negative, I think, is the choice.
Yeah, they have catered more here, obviously, for families and family parks, so they've gone a bit more generic with kind of chicken, pizza and burgers, which is fine. Don't have a problem with that. But if you're looking for something slightly different, you're not necessarily going to find it here. But that said, though, they're not opposed to you bringing in your own lunch.
Yeah, it seemed like there was quite a
yeah.
few families that got
And
that.
there's loads of places to sit round and eat lunch. There's lots of tables, there's quite a bit of it undercover as well. So there's plenty of bins. It's really, really nice to see that.
Yeah. I'd like to see a bit more sort of choice myself. I'd like to see, and I don't know if the Irish really have any sort of specific cuisine, other than the thing I can think of
Goulash.
is Guinness and stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to see something like that, especially in Tiernanog where we are now, something that's themed around, proper traditional Irish. Irish stew, I suppose. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. And as you can see, we're in the Tiernanog area, so we've just been on Quest.
We have. Now, Quest is the park's new boomerang for this year. It's one of three rides, currently in the Tiernanog area. And the way that both this and Fianna Force interact together is phenomenal. It's one
lovely,
of
yeah.
the best bits of essentially interactivity, I think, in any park in the world.
Yeah, between 2 rides.
Yeah.
There probably are others out there that do it, just as well. But the fact that Quest goes up and over while Force goes underneath and round,
Yeah.
you'll hopefully see it here. It's very rare to catch the two, together
Yeah.
because the boomerang takes so long to load. But whereas they chuck trains out on Force, so if you want photos of Force, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
Another unique element is Fianna Force goes over the station for Quest, which is really nice. It's a bit like Swarm, only it's done a lot better with a lot different roller coaster.
yeah, it goes through twice. It's got 2 station flyovers, but we'll talk more about Force when we've actually ridden Force. But yeah, the Quest, it's boys, it equates to pulling up backwards out the station, through the station, and then essentially nest bend with a up and down section, then straight up at the end, and then
Yeah.
back again. There's not much to it.
No.
But it doesn't really need much.
No, it doesn't. And if you've been on Rake Phantasialand, this is very much in the same vein.
Just slower.
Yeah, just a little bit slower, and it's upward spike at the end. If you're wanting a bit more woo, then you want to sit at the front of the train. If not, sit at the back of the train.
Yeah. But that is
Quest.
Quest, the zoo, and a bit on the food. So
Yeah.
that's us.
Sure.
So, Nafina Force. What can't be said about this coaster? It is insane. It is everything that you would want out of a roller coaster, I think.
It is, yeah. And for a lot of enthusiasts, this, once they come and ride it, it's going to be in their top 10s, I think.
Yeah, it's only just not in my top 10. When you're done, thank you very much. It's only just not in my top 10 thanks to Nemesis Reborn at Alton Towers. It's literally the only thing that's stopping it from sort of getting in there. However, it's just so good. It's a showcase of what modern Vekoma can do. Now, I've not ridden anything such as Lake Coaster or things like that, you know, any of the really, really highly rated modern Vekomas, but that is excellent in every single way. It's forceful, it keeps pace, it's got your graceful elements. Its inversions don't feel like they're put in there for the sake of, oh, let's put some inversions in. They have sort of meaning and purpose. One of the inversions, you roll over the station for Quest, and then there's a turnaround and you come back through the station for Quest. It's really, really good, the interaction between those two is brilliant. The whole area of Tir na Nog, I'd say that it's wonderful, but it's not quite there. Yeah,
it's wonderful, but it is essentially, it's halfway done, and I really, really hope they are going to finish off this area and they've got future plans to extend it, because it will be phenomenal when it's done. Looking at what they've got at the moment, does look good, and you do feel like you are in a northern, an Irish medieval village for all intents and purposes, because that's the story that essentially you're a brave warrior and you've now got to go slay the dragon.
Yeah, because that's what Nafina, from what we understand, is a band of Irish warriors, and so you're the Finna Force. You are the force of Irish warriors, and apparently, from what you were saying in the queue line, there's a video that plays in the queue line, and that the harnesses and the restraints of your body armour.
Yes, that is now your magical body armour, and you have to go slay the dragon. Soar up to the crowds and go down below, and it's a bit daft, but it fits all right. Can't fault that in any way, shape or form. And I only found out this morning because, as we've mentioned, we have been here for 2 days. That's only the second Vekoma suspended thrill coaster. So I know Intamin are my favourite, and obviously B&M are making waves as they always do. But I wish more parks would invest in those. Definitely needed. They're super comfortable. It's super smooth. Loading and unloading is fairly quick as well. And for its length, it's quite a long coaster. You do get sort of halfway around going, ooh, it's still more going, because it's packed with loads of others. It's also got inversions, but you've got airtime hills on an invert. It's insane. So, just come ride it. Come ride it. And the other ride in this area that we haven't mentioned is Clouds. I can't remember the name of it. It's not. It's basically a chair swing. We've not ridden it, but I'll put you some footage in here of it going around. It's a chair swing, but it does seem to have quite a short cycle. It does, we were all remarking on that because we were taking a group photo by Force last night, and in the time it took someone to everybody right, the thing had done like 3 cycles. But this is a lovely area, and it is what Emerald Park needs, I think, because there's quite a lot of their areas that feel like they've just got rides and put them down. Like when you open into the park, it almost feels like a fairground. Whereas this elevates it to a theme park. And considering they put Cuchulainn, the Big Woody in 2015, and then obviously this now, I think is moving in the right direction to make it into a proper sort of come to here kind of park. More of that, please. Yes.
Could be around, because obviously in the wild, if they have lovely long feathers on the top of their heads the way Rodney did, and they're sticking their head into these nasty places, it does mean that they're going to end up catch it closer to the first than the 100th pass, but we'll see how we go today. Every single feather on his body is built for speed. It's aerodynamic to prevent drag, so he can fly as fast as he possibly can. 20% of his body is his pectoral muscles alone.
Bit of a shame that that's not open. I don't think it would knock Finna Force off the top. but
No.
it does look like an absolutely insane muddy. And
It does, yeah.
I'm going to stop butchering the pronunciation of it because I'm not even going to try and say its name anymore because I know that I am getting it all wrong. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that because we haven't ridden it.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about World of Raptors.
Yes, this is the park's raptor show because understandably, as we said earlier, they've got quite a big raptor collection in the zoo, and it was nice. They showcased 3 birds. We got to see the secretary bird, the Sacred Falcon,
And the black fur vultures.
Black vultures. And yeah, little short 20-minute, 25-minute show, really informative. The staff knew their stuff, and the birds fly over you. Secretary
Very
bird
close.
doesn't.
Yeah, the vultures were getting very close, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But if you've got a fear of birds, they do ask that at the very start because the amount of people they apparently get that go into this bird show now expecting to see birds, you know.
Well, not expecting to have birds fly over their heads, more to the point.
Yeah, but yeah, it was definitely worth we're going and seeing. We were a little bit disappointed in the sort of variety, I suppose.
I was expecting some of the bigger birds to come out. And
Not,
say, maybe the sea eagle or the owls.
Yeah, not to say to be horrible or anything like that, but it did feel like that they spent an awful lot of time talking about a secretary bird, which was cool to see because I didn't know they attacked snakes. But I would have liked maybe a little bit longer, not so long on each individual bird, and show us a couple more. But it does mean, I suppose, the positive to take from that is that you come back and you see the show again.
Different.
Yeah, so you're never seeing the same sort of show twice. Which is quite good, but yeah, I quite enjoyed that. It was uncovered though, as you'd probably expect. Obviously, there's birds out and about. The seating has got no cover whatsoever, so it's not really something you can do in nasty weather.
Yes.
But yeah, that's World of Raptors.
I have a change of clothes. I have my pocket.
This is the waterproof cookbook.
Oh, a bit blinded now. But we're going to talk about Endeavour and Power Surge now, which are 2 Zamperla flat rides that the park's got. And they both have a very similar sort of experience, though I feel that one was more enjoyable than the other. So Endeavour first, which is a Zamperla Endeavour. The park is very good with its naming, and it's an enterprise.
It is. It's essentially, though, it's an open enterprise. So you're sitting in seats 2 abreast, and you've not got a cage, but it does exactly this, and you've got obviously over-shoulder restraints.
Yep.
Now, as I've said in previous videos, I'm not a big fan of enterprises, mainly because of the force
they pull
put
things
on.
that shouldn't be pulled apart.
They pull things that shouldn't be pulled apart.
Yeah.
This doesn't do that. So if you're wanting to try one, come here and try this, because it's pretty much the same thing. The only thing we did find out really, really disconcerting is because it's open, you have nothing to focus on. So if you're prone to motion sickness, I will probably give this a miss. Both me and Dave yesterday, when we did this, come off it going, yeah, right then, maybe not do that again, because it does genuinely feel like you're in a washing machine.
It's all right. It wasn't my favourite. It takes an absolute age to load as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about Zamperla, because there's the nebulas, there's the Power Surge that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
There's so many of their rides that take ages to load and unload, because this one, the ride-ups have got to make sure everyone's sat down, tell everyone to put their heads back, then the restraints come down, having the guys go back and then press a button. Then you've got to come out and check all the restraints.
Yeah.
And the same thing has to happen in reverse when you're getting off, so it just takes so long to load and unload. I found that the seats weren't as comfortable, and because an enterprise, you're sat in it rather than sat on it, and I find them a lot more comfortable because it's not trying to pull your feet off. That one kind of did. It made me feet a little bit sore because the restraint sits on your thigh, and the bottom of your thigh is obviously on the bottom of the seat, so it just felt like it was not pinching or anything like that, because it wasn't uncomfortable. I just didn't particularly like that sensation. What I did like though was Power Surge. which is a ride that fatties can't ride because the restraints are very tight. I managed, but you were probably only just on the cusp.
Yeah, I was just on the cusp. They unfortunately couldn't ratchet me in enough as they wanted to.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly worried because I looked at it and went, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah, so it's got the same sort of idea as what Endeavour has, but instead of the seats going around, in circular motion as the ride does, these are forward and backwards facing, and they've got lateral movement.
Lateral, yeah.
So when you're at the top, you could be, if there was enough spin on it, you could be upside down, or you could be right side up because the seats rotate along their axis.
Yeah, it's kind of like a tamer Samurai from Fort Park, only instead of being in 5 arms, you're essentially in groups of 2. It's that same sort of motion in that you could be anywhere on that ride, whether you're upside down or on your back as it goes round.
It's peculiar, but I didn't find it uncomfortable. In fact, I wouldn't have minded that if it went a bit quicker, or it sped up and slowed down, so it gave you a little bit of a whip. But yeah, Power Surge was absolutely fine. Didn't particularly like Endeavour, so that's those two. So last thing we're going to talk about is the sort of entrance area of the park, of which they've got an air race, and they've got
a couple of sideshows, couple of eating establishments, and obviously the lockers as well, should you need them, as well as the entrance to the Big Woody.
Kukulin.
Yeah.
I know we're going to keep mispronouncing that, but anyway. And the only one that I've actually ridden out of all the rides that are here, I know you can't see them because they're behind us, is Rotator, which is it's supposed to be an inverting pendulum. I think it's called a Frisbee, but it doesn't invert. And I don't know if it's because it's by design or whether there's something not quite right with it, but when it's swinging, it gets to the top of its arc, it really does feel like the motors are still trying to inject momentum into it. And it judders. So you get judder when you're at the top. It holds you more than it should, which is unnatural, and I don't particularly like that. And then obviously you swing back down. Why didn't they just invest in a proper pendulum like Cyclonator or one of the Intamin gyro swings? I don't know on that one. I didn't find it comfortable. I really didn't like that at all. It was probably the worst ride that I've done here. Something's got to be the worst ride, hasn't it?
Yeah, and once again, it was a slow loader. Now, I didn't go on it because I'm not a big fan of the pendulum style rides, because of the hang generally, so I'm glad I didn't go on. But watching it from the bottom, it was really slow. It was slow to load, it was slow to get going, and I think it's possibly, looking at it, it's one of the older rides in the park.
Yeah, not a big fan of that one, but like I say, I would have liked to have done the air race, but that's something we can do when we come back, as well as that wooden beast, because it does look really good. It is a shame that it's down, but what can you do? So that just leaves us kind of the wrap up. So the wrap up of the park then, what we think, what we like, what we didn't like. I came into this because, as you know, we're here for 2 days, thinking that we're going to need 2 days, and we didn't need 2 days.
No.
We have done everything that we wanted to do today, and if we were feeling a bit more sort of, we need to do more, we could have done, but we've been quite leisurely, I suppose.
Yeah, we have been quite leisurely. What I would say is, if you are coming here with the family, if you are coming here and it's your first time, then maybe plan in 2 days, because the park is quite big and stuff is spread out. But once you've got your bearings and you kind of know what's where and where you're going, once you've done this park a couple of times, you could easily do it in a day.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of fair description.
We didn't really get our bearings yesterday, and we knew we got where everything was this morning pretty quick. Flight school and onto Dino Dash and stuff like that. It's one of those, if you are organised, even never been here before, you can get through this in a day, because I would probably say it's about half the size of Alton Towers. There's not as many rides, and the rides, I suppose this is one of the positives, there's not massive queues.
No, there isn't. They do have a ride access pass, and looking at it, you've you've got to prove that essentially you are disabled, like the system sort of back home. But obviously we haven't used that, so we can't confirm if that is the actual situation. But for ride access queues, they've been ridiculously short all over the weekend.
Yeah.
Which has been really nice to see that essentially that queue isn't taken up as much as the main queue.
Yeah, and yeah, we've not queued for all that much. The only thing that I would say is that kind of a little bit of advice, because we've mentioned it with a few of the flat rides, the slow loaders. So it might be worth getting into queue for those when they're about to unload, rather than standing around and waiting, because you might wait for a long time for a ride that's you're not going to get on, and then have to wait for another cycle when you could be getting on into queue for other things. The only thing that we've queued ridiculously long for, and it's not even ridiculously long compared to some of the other rides, has been Finna Force today.
Yeah, and even then we were only in the queue half an hour, maybe 35 minutes at a push.
Yeah.
And that's genuinely because they seem to be a bit busier in the park today, and they only had one train on, whereas yesterday they had two.
I think
and
it's
it
more
was
the
just
one
eating
train.
queues.
Yeah, I think it was more the one train that was the problem. Yeah, when we were here yesterday as part of your experience guide, every time you looked there was a train on that track, because they were chucking trains out, which it just adds more and more to how good Finna Force is. So easy to load, so easy to unload, and I can't gush over that any more than I already have done. But all the rides have been, for the most, all the roller coasters have been excellent. They're all not necessarily exemplary of their sort of type, but Finna Force obviously is. Flight School was really good fun. We had
Dino Dash was really good
time
fun.
on that one. Quest, although it's not quite as good as some of the other boomerangs, it's still a very good time. We didn't get on Ladybird Loop, but I don't think we're going to be missing out too much on Ladybird Loop.
No, unfortunately we did not get on Ladybird Loop today because the weather this morning was quite bad. Sun's now come out and brightened up, but it is one of them. Queue lines close half an hour before the park does, which is one negative. Park is open to 5. Most of the queue lines close in at 4:30, so bear that in mind if you're coming here.
On to, I suppose, merchandise. Merchandise is something that's kind of more on the positive side than anything else, because it's quite plentiful. It's not extensive, but there are certain there's rumblings of it getting better, because you can see Dino Dash has got a little bit, and I think Dino Dash is quite recent. But then you've got all the stuff in Tiernanude, which has got extensive. You've got pens and pencils.
You've got snow globes. You've got little toys
dragons
as well. So I got a dragon today. You've even got stuff if you want to do a bit of cosplay. You can get dragon headbands and wings that fit over your shoulders, and tails as well, which I thought was something a little bit different.
You can get soft shields and axes and stuff like that. You've got your standard t-shirts, but they've also got jerseys. As opposed to being like regular t-shirts you probably you get from other parks.
So like sort of football jerseys, hockey jerseys, that kind of material.
They're a bit on the pricey side compared to the other stuff, but even then they're still in line with what you get at Merlin Park. So
and they have pin badges.
I can't comment on the quality of the t-shirts, but onto the pin badges. It's not an extensive collection, but they have got a pin badge, it seems, for all the big coasters.
We've come away with 8, I think, in total.
Something like that,
8 or 9.
But it's nice to see that, even just providing pin badges, because it's just something nice to collect.
They've got a really nice collection of key rings and magnets as well. You can pretty much pick up a key ring or a magnet for most of the bigger stuff in the park. So you can get stuff for Dino Dash.
Can't get much for Flight School, but you could get a lot for Tiernanude. You could get stuff for, I think, the kids area had a little bit or something.
The kids area had a little bit of stuff, and essentially they've got park specific stuff as well, like the freestyle cups. They've got the park logo on. They've got t-shirts and hoodies with the park logo.
Like I said, this hoodie is lovely. It's been bloody wonderful all day.
Which is nice, and it's nice to see that, and I hope they really do extend their merchandise range. And what I did notice in there is that they have got like furry animals and stuff like that, like a lot of the parks with zoos do have. But for the most part, they have actually got animals in there. They've actually got in the zoo, rather than you going in and finding a baboon to find there's no baboon in the actual zoo.
I think that's something I'll definitely remark on, that there wasn't that much crap
Yeah.
They seem to have got a more focused sort of merch line, and they sell Tato crisps as well.
They
So
do,
if you want some of those,
As a
'Cause-
nod to their heritage.
Yeah, because obviously this park used to be called Tato Park. There used to be a factory tour as well as part of the
Yeah.
visit, which would have obviously made it a bit more of a 2-day park. They have unfortunately removed that sort of partnership, unfortunately.
They've
But
still got elements of it around. A lot of the play areas, because they've got at least 3 or 4 play areas dotted over the park. So if you've got bigger ones going on the rides or bigger little ones going on the rides, you've got little ones, you can take them into a play park.
And they've got names
And one
that,
of them is called the Spadhara Desert.
yeah,
So it's nice that they've still got them little nods to essentially to their heritage around the park. I like that.
and the I don't know where I'd say that Tato's are in comparison to Walkers. I kind of
Yeah.
feel like the Tato crisps themselves are nicer, but the flavours from Walkers are better. I don't really know,
Yeah.
but
We
anyway,
have tried Tato crisp while we're over here, but
Yeah.
that'll be another blog.
I don't think it'd be a blog on crisps.
Yeah.
When we're not that sort of into it. But
No.
yeah, merchandise has been good. The
Yeah.
whole park as a whole has been good. I think the biggest negative for me is that I felt like it was a bigger park than it actually is, and what it could do with is 2 or 3 more Tina Noogs.
Yeah, I really, really hope they extend. The only negative from my side is there are a couple of rides. They've got a massive giant climbing frame with all the 3 levels.
The standing but not operating stuff.
Yeah. That one of them is standing. Only operates through July and August when the weather's here, which is fair enough. I get that. Don't have a problem with that. But they've got a couple of older things that they've been in the park for a while that are standing, not operating, and I really hope they take them out because they kind of do spoil it a little bit. Because you look at the skylines, like, oh yeah, this looks really good, and yeah, can go do that, and then you get there and like, oh, can't get on it.
Yeah, I'm going to say when we came to the park yesterday, and we could see rides testing. We knew that the Woody wasn't going to be running, but I could see one of the roller coasters, and right next to it there's
Sky
a blue
coaster, essentially.
blue and yellow rail sky coaster where you get a harness on and you swing underneath it,
Zipline.
and it looks really good. And I was looking forward to that. And one of the other enthusiasts said, "Oh, it hasn't operated for years,"
Yeah.
which is like, so it's been there for years. Pull it down, put something else there. Let's get another Tina Nook. Let's get more Finna Forces in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's been worth the visit.
Yes, it's definitely been worth the visit. We'd definitely say come here with your family. There's plenty to probably do if you researched it within the local area or not too far away, that you could probably make a nice little weekend break or an extended week kind of thing of it. But yeah,
'cause
definitely come here and give it a visit.
It's
and
so
I
close
really
to,
hope that
They get the MO.
essentially that they do continue to invest in the park because we're definitely coming back.
Yeah, it's not going to be something we're going to rush back to.
Yeah.
But if they say, oh yeah, we're going to do another themed area and it's themed to whatever they're going to theme it to, and it's the same sort of quality as Tina Nook or better, yeah, definitely coming back for that.
Oh yeah.
It's close enough to Dublin that you can do things in Dublin as well as visiting here. Hopefully, either before or after this video, there'll be a little video about how we got from the UK to here.
Yeah.
It's not difficult to get to. It can be a bit pricey, but if you're a bit more savvy than what we are, you probably get over here a damn sight cheaper than we did.
Yeah.
So I think that probably about wraps up Emerald Park,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
yes.
Good park, not my favourite, not the best, but there's certainly a hell of a lot of potential here.
Yes.
And yeah, just come here for Finna Force. I'm going to gush about Finna
Yeah.
Force. Finna Force.
It's
Dinner for us.
wonderful. Yeah.
So with that, we will leave you to it. That's been Lips and Lap Bar signing out from Emerald Park.
Park. Yep. Bye.